Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the recap of the Giro d'Italia. Men, the entirety of the recap we started a month ago in Bulgaria in Nesbar. We finished in Rome yesterday. We'll wrap up that stage as well. Won in a sprint by Big Johnny Milan. Did it save Trek's Giro d'Italia? We're going to update you on a few things. The join discount, which has gone crazy. The GC, what does this mean for Jonas Vingegaard to win this race? What does it mean for the Tour de France, which has been kind of the main narrative? I felt bad for the race, honestly, but it's been the main overriding narrative in interviews for the last week and a half. The sprints, Paul Magnier stepping up a level, the KOM classification, Eulálio, the breakout star, maybe the biggest panache holder of this whole race, and then a few other things as well as what's been going on in the Giro d'Italia Donne, which has started and is actually stage 3 is ongoing as we speak. How are you feeling, Benji? What's the energy levels like post first Grand Tour of the year?
I'm feeling pretty good, I'll be honest. Now, I do think I need to put something right, Patrick, because I swear there was a moment on our previous podcast of Stage 20 where one man named Patrick Broe suggested that it was solely me that wanted to skip the procession stage podcast. And then yesterday I was watching the celebrations at the end of the procession stage of the Giro d'Italia. I look at Vingegaard and the team of Visma-Lease on the podium, and I see a little man in the corner called Patrick Broe from Australia celebrating. Clearly, I'm not the only person that wanted to skip the procession stage podcast, sir.
No, I hate procession stages regardless. Except for the Madrid one's not bad because they got a little hill in it. And this one was actually not bad. The racing ended up being pretty good. But indeed, as is our custom, becoming our custom perhaps, I dodged the pod yesterday. Blame Benji for it. I'm going to continue to do so. So you can try to write the record, but I'll still maintain that it was a mutual, perhaps, decision. Anyway, let's do the stage-by-stage recap. We began in Bulgaria on the 8th of June. No, May even. It's the 1st of June today. Paul Magnier won the first sprint. Big upset. The next day, we had a versatile sprint. Well, actually, it was an attack of Vingegaard. Pellizzari was with him. It looked like Pellizzari were like, oh, he's hyped, the Italian. He's following Vingegaard. They're pulling. Van Avermaet's there. They gambled too much. Scaroni led out Silva. He won the stage. Took the leader's jersey. That was pretty exciting for Astana. Then the next day in Sofia, Paul Magnier won the second sprint again. Stage 4, we had Movistar saying no more sprints. They destroyed the race on a long climb and end up gifting it to Jonathan Narvaez after Jan Christen set him up beautifully with an attack in the final. Stage 5, the weather takes a turn for the worst in Potenza. This stage dictates a lot of the rest of the race. Afonso Eulálio gets in the break with Arrieta. Probably the most entertaining last 15 Ks. They both just crashed themselves five times. Neither of them wanted to win the stage.
I think Arrieta also rode the wrong way in the final. That was genuinely a very memorable stage. Yeah. And after we go through all these stages, I think we're going to go through what our favorite and least favorite or most forgettable stage was. I don't think this one will be our most forgettable stage. That is not just an individually good stage, but also the start of the rise of Afonso Eulálio, where he entered the Maglia Rosa by quite a bit of time, to the point that he kept that jersey for X amount of days. But the next day was a bit of a disaster. It was a cobble sprint with a bend in it. Half the sprint is crashed. In doing so, Davide Ballerini from Astana rode away and won the stage. Maybe the most impressive performance was Paul Magnier getting back up and then sprinting to third position somehow. Crazy stuff. But Blockhouse was coming, Patrick, and Blockhouse was 245 kilometers, a crazy amount, plus 4.5k altitude meters, I'm pretty sure. In the end, Jonas Vingegaard won the stage. Visma-Lease controlled it for the stage, when then Felix Gall finished second, but actually quite close on 12-ish seconds. But it's fair to say we were never really scared that Felix Gall was going to beat Jonas here, you know?
The problem was, like, with the TT, Vingegaard just had to hold serve on the climbs, but he was doing more than that. He took 13 seconds plus, a few bonies. But yeah, it was interesting seeing, like, Ciccone was good on that climb. Aronsman struggled from memory. Did he lose quite a bit of time on Blockhouse? Hindley and O'Connor were very good, with Pellizzari, who went too close to the sun and then did still salvage it with Hindley and O'Connor. But that blockhouse was not actually representative of the climbing strength for the rest of the race.
Arensman lost a minute to Hindley on blockhouse.
Yeah.
About 2 seconds to G and so forth. So it's like, it's not a horrible performance, but it wasn't great, you know?
No, and it wasn't what he even did a couple of days later, but indeed, blockhouse was the first big uphill test. The next day we had a Muri stage, the only one I could have done with another one of these stages, frankly, to Fermo. No?
The problem is that they will always go to the breakaways.
Yeah.
Unless you put them in the first week, and then you've got Narvaez and Pogacar on stage 1 in 2024. Yeah. That was a fantastic stage.
It's got to be the Maglia Rosa up for grabs, and the GC guys get hungry for it. Someone controls, and then you also don't want to let a puncher even take too much time. But indeed, it went to the breakaway. Narvaez was there with Bjerg. Break took a long time to form. Bjerg was very good that day, and Narvaez cleaned up his second stage, the third one for UAE in the first 8 stages after half their team had abandoned the race just about, and their GC leaders, Vine and Yates and Soler. So UAE bounced back in a big way, took 3 early stage wins. Vingegaard won on Corno alla Scale after decathlon paced. So I think Gall was second again. Piganzoli was third. But Gall and Vingegaard, it was basically every single uphill finish, they were first and second. Like Gall was very, very consistent. Even on the sprints against Hindley and Co., he was the second strongest climber in the race, quite clearly. The TT, Ganna wins, of course. Huge gap, destroys everybody. Arensman takes a lot of time back. O'Connor moves into, a good GC position. Eulálio does a bad TT, but not like horrific. Like, it was also okay. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. Jonas did an underwhelming TT, to say the least.
That was the most shocking one for me that day. Then again, it's a flat long time trial, so maybe we shouldn't be expecting the world of Jonas, but it's still an underperformance to be sure. But yeah, after that time trial, we had another stage coming afterwards with Jonathan Narvaez once again winning the paper district stage from the breakaway. But I think stage 12 was quite fun as well, because we kind of had a similar vibe to the stage 4 stage where Movistar took hold of the climb, and then we had the sprinters being dropped on the stage. But we came to a similar scenario as we did on stage 4, where there were limited domestiques. All the domestiques from NSN and Movistar and so forth were eaten up, and EF as well, which resulted in a late attack by Alex Segaard succeeding, because Kampenaerts ain't going to control that for Visma Mike. Jonas is never going to win the stage, and Segaard's not a danger for GC. So a nice stage win, a finisher attack by Segaard. I like that, but then it was time for the one-trick pony. Sorry?
They're Belgian friends.
Yes, but either way, I don't think there would have been an actual incentive for Visma to control it.
No, like, it was clear that Visma, everybody watching was like, sprinters teams, it's time to go to the front end, and they were just too tired, I think, in reality. Berthiol wins in impressive fashion on stage 13, ahead of Leknersund, who was always second in this race. He was strong in this Giro, where he broke out a few years ago on Sunweb, as they were. The first multi-mountain stage to Pila. Vingegaard makes a big statement, puts Gall on 50 seconds. Hindley starts to come good. Hindley starts to get, he was good on Blockhouse, but he was probably even better here. He's 9 seconds behind Gall. He starts to move. O'Connor starts to slide. Piganzoli's very strong and starts to take time on Eulálio. But yeah, Vingegaard after stage 14 had pretty much sealed the business. Stage 15 was supposed to be a sprint for the named Milan. It was a sprint in Milan for Milan. There was no sprint in Milan for Milan because Frederick Gersnes, much chagrin from the chasers, according about the motorbikes, he wins from a 2-up Polti break with Bardiani. That was a pretty exciting finish, but with the neutralization, a bit of a Grande Casino stage. We then move to Switzerland after the last rest day. We have a 110k Woke stage finishing on Kari. Vingegaard smashes the climb, takes a minute, takes his GC lead to 4 minutes. Joint cycling starts to get nervous that he's not, just chilling. And then the next day was the Valgren breakaway. I quite enjoyed that stage 17, Benji, with Valgren.
Yeah, that was a nice break formation. And also, the break battle was not just an obvious victory for Narvaez, which on the Narvaez breakaway stage on Fermo, I think stage 8, the Muri stage, it was obvious the second we had the breakaway that Narvaez was going to win that stage. because the break formed so late in the stage. And to be honest, it was also kind of the case with the paper district stage. So those were a bit underwhelming. The Valgren one,
there was no
not.
one in the Novice thermo break. It was him with a teammate and one rider.
Yes, Leknesund. But in this specific example with Valgren, you've got it reminds me of that Total Energie breakaway stage win at the Dauphiné 3 years ago. Am I inventing something? Where there was a group in the final kilometer, a late attack by a Total rider riding off. Who was it?
Are you talking about when the French guys rolled Bergioli or when Turgis was behind the motorbike?
Not behind the motorbike, the other one.
Yeah, there was like five rider break. Bergioli was in it, I think, and then 4 French guys, and they rolled him.
Trying to figure out what year it is. 2022? Valentin Ferron?
Yeah, something. Himo Viermoz.
Ferron, and it was Bajoli that was rolled by 5 French riders.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know who won the sprint for the peloton that day? Edvald Boasson Hagen. Holy shit.
I'm trying to do the facial representation of the Ian Wright gif, where he sees his high school teacher for the first time. That's a name I haven't heard for a long time. Manier wins the stage 18. This one we thought no one honestly thought he was going to survive. He himself thought wasn't going to survive. He survives with Milan. Sturven does one of the best lead-outs of the year. He wins, and he takes Ciclamino back when it looked like it was going to be gone during that stage. Stage 19, Koos wins from the breakaway. Gall takes more time. Arensman struggles. Hindley goes onto the GC podium. Stage 20, Vingegaard's hungry. Takes Piancavallo. Breaks the Pantani record. Breaks the join discount record. Goes to 5:22 in GC. And then yesterday in Rome, we had a late break with Ganna. Sturven and Sobrero sat on, refused to pull. He got caught late. And then Johnny Milan was positioned well. Groenewegen's lead out was to the front a little bit too early, and Milan shot from the back on that uphill kick to the line. And just he did destroy everybody in this sprint. Manier got blocked.
Jonathan Milan comes in clutch. I famously remember the words from our previous podcast where if Jonathan Milan won that stage, then I win the LRCP prediction tournament.
Is that right?
That is right.
I need to see
the account. That is very right.
I need to see the account. I feel like I was more ahead.
I don't care, Patrick. I simply don't care about what you feel. I'm going to tell you, this was a long time coming. I was toying with you, toying with my parade this entire Giro d'Italia.
You got lucky, dude.
I saw you pick a Scaroni who was clearly feeling sick. I saw you pick a Pellizzari who was vomiting his eyes out the night before.
I got too Italianized.
I laughed at you, but I thought to myself, I'll take a pity pick as well, just in case, to keep the competition close until the last day. This was always going to happen on the final day, Patrick. Once you see your opponent make a mistake, let him do it. I did it, and you tried to come for the king, and you missed, buddy.
I did too many meme picks. I did too many emotional grinta. I just want to see this guy win picks, and it's backfired. I have to somehow wear a dinosaur suit on a pod coming to you soon.
Get ready to learn dinosaur, buddy. And
I spoke to
surrounding that, the terms of the dinosaur deal, how about we do it like this? There's no certainty at which point that dinosaur suit will arrive in Andorra. I don't know if they have like a factory of dinosaur suits in your country. But how about we say a random stage of the Tour de France, you'll wear a Tour de France suit. We won't prepare it beforehand. Nobody will know until the podcast starts. And they'll be surprised.
I accept your terms.
We do have to look at the logistics of recording a podcast with a microphone in a dinosaur suit, but we'll try and do it as well as possible, right?
I'll survive. Thanks very much, Ruth, for keeping score. I think it's actually been very, very fun. We've all enjoyed it. I think it's added a lot to the picks, and
I definitely did.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. And sorry, just watched Jordi Meus, I think, win. Arnaud Delis had a mechanical.
To the Wallonie?
Yep. And now I've got to switch to the Giro Donne because they're about to finish. So I'm doing a live reaction because they had them scheduled at the same time. But luckily, Giro Donne had a hill. So I got to now switch to that race because I knew I was finishing just this last 3Ks. Demi was attacking. There were some hills. 2.4Ks were late attacker. Sorry. I'm trying to distract from the fact that Benji beat me. I'm not happy about it. But anyway,
Okay.
Vingegaard wins by 5:22. I think they gave him the same time on the last stage. Joint cycling discount 60%. By the way, this discount got hammered the way it got designed. It worked out perfectly. Only hitting on the last mountain stage. It's only available for the next 24 hours, or maybe even less. Basically, they can't keep it open for that much longer. We discussed today. Let me do the recap. I'll shout it out one last time. If you want to get 1 year with 60% off, this is your last chance. You basically have to do it as soon as you listen to this pod, or it's gone.
So you're telling me that Luke will have to produce this podcast in absolutely no time to make sure people have as much time as possible?
Yeah, exactly. They don't have long, especially if they're in Australia or America and they wait. So, but that's how it is. Use it or lose it.
Question: what was your favorite stage of the Giro d'Italia? Because we'll judge the whole Giro at the end of this podcast. I don't think we'll have a very high score for the Giro d'Italia in terms of pure entertainment, but there were a few enjoyable stages for sure. Which was your favorite, Patrick?
Favorite stage? Why
are you struggling? Is there no obvious one?
Probably the win of Magnier in Pieve di Solio. When they had the Muri. When they had the
really?
Muricata Podio.
Oh, I'm kind of shocked by that.
That or stage 5. Stage 5 probably is my favorite, even though for the riders it would not have been.
It's captivating because looking at that Magnier stage win, there's two angles you can take. You can take the a subversion of expectations, the sprinters survive, Paul Magnier wins. On the other side, you can also look at it, I was kind of expecting some GC action, and we didn't get anything outside of aura farming Eulálio, which I loved, attacking on that Muroca del Poggio. I'm leaning a bit more to I was hoping for a bit more action that day. But it's weird. I kind of want to say the last 20k of the Potenza stage, Arieta versus Eulálio, was peak cycling.
Good. That was just like, what is going on here? And Chicone is pulling on his own, like just losing the pink jersey by 7 minutes. I'm like, is no one going to chase Eulálio? How big is the gap he can take? Everyone's cold. That was just a crazy stage. So yeah, I do think you're probably right with stage 5, and maybe I have recency bias with the...
But I somewhat feel like...
I just enjoyed the technical excellence of the Sturven lead out, you know? Like just, yeah. Balsamo's getting a lead out. She comes out of the wheel in the Maglia Rosa, and Balsamo's going to win by 25 bike lengths. We will get to Vibasgate in a second, but wow, Balsamo's back. She has won that in dominant fashion. So after a rough 18 months, she wins the uphill sprint on stage 3 in the Giro Donne.
I kind of wanted to add it that when it comes to the GC stage, I think there were maybe 2-ish stages where I felt like, yeah, this really feels like a Grand Tour in terms of breakaway formation, etc., drama in the breakaway, GC fight, already from the first climb. I do think stage 19 was quite good considering the situation in GC. I actually did enjoy that stage, even though the outcome is, in reality, Jonas was always going to clear whoever was in the peloton.
I think the Pellizzari satellite podium change was nice.
I think for me, the G battle was fun.
Okay.
Then Gicone throwing him under a bus was also an anecdote there. Rubio fighting with them, those kind of details. But also the fact that we see that we always talk about not the echelon, what's the word of like snow falling off a mountain?
Avalanche.
We always talk about the avalanche of GC riders going into breakaways. If one top 10 rider attacks, the other one will follow. We saw it for once in a stage like that, which I honestly love to see. So that was fun. That's probably my challenger for that. But obviously, whoever's listening to this podcast, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, there's a comment section. Drop your take in the comment section below. But when it comes to the most forgettable stage, Patrick, I want to forget stage 6.
Nah, but it's not the most forgettable because you can recall what happened in the Naples stage. You can say exactly what happened.
And I think a lot of people won't agree that stage 15 was forgettable for me. The Tversnes stage win. It didn't feel as like a shocking win like the Damiano Cima breakaway stage win in 2019, maybe? That is more memorable to me.
For me, it's the third Narvaez stage win. I couldn't tell you what happened. Was that the one with Enrique?
Yes. So you could tell me what happened.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, but I can. I can also. Stage 3 in the Sofia sprint, dead set. Couldn't tell you what happened. The Manier second win. But
yeah, I think that was the one with the straight cobbles, the straight road with cobbles, where Milan hobbled over them. And when we said, if it's on asphalt, Milan probably win this. I think that's the one. But yeah. I think there's multiple candidates, and that's probably an indicator of the Giro d'Italia, if I'm being honest.
The most forgettable is just the GC action in general. Like, let's be frank. It was shocking, the passivity. I know... Can we really say this Visma super team, there was nothing anyone else could do to try, like, their own race for the podium in other GC positions? I'm not saying for the win. I'm not saying, like, oh, if you did this, you would beat Vingegaard. I mean for the podium.
I think we saw it from G on the second final mountain stage, but outside of that, Ineos with Arensman never really tried anything after being in a position of the podium on that time trial. It's partially because they were first defending it, but afterwards when they lost that position, then it felt more like Arensman was just simply trying to survive, which that's fine. A top 5 in a Grand Tour is great, but I also just think that the GC wasn't really built into the third week for a crazy coup to come in the first place. Felix Gall is fine with the second position. He's not going to change anything.
I think
Hindley could do it on the final climb, clearly, so he didn't have to do a coup.
I think what's our principle from the 2020 Tour de France? If there's suitable stages to take time on your opponents, be aggressive early. Don't wait till it's too late.
Yep.
And I think if that Bulgaria stage is on stage 20, probably goes to breakaway, but yeah, I think the fact that Felix Gall, who has this season just completely fallen out of GC, first nearly in the echelons in Catalonia, but then secondly in a medium mountain stage, no one tried one time is in 3 weeks to usurp second. Oh.
You spoke about the Velikotarnovo stage. It's a second stage. I lean more towards stage 11, the second last climb, the Colle di Scioli, I think was the second last climb. Yeah. That descent was really technical. The fact that no one tried there is insanity to me. On the Fermo stage, Gall was in trouble on the Muris. And nobody batted an eye. Nobody realized beforehand that Gall has a weakness on these steep short climbs, which there's a lot of evidence out there for both his ascending and his hills, which on one end, I do think the team around Gall in this race protected him on certain stages. The fact that Mühlberger was there on the Blockhouse stage in the echelons, or at least the crosswind section on Blockhouse, that helped him on that spot. In maybe the Piani di Pezze stage, it's harder to attack Mühlberger, Scottson, and Gall in descent than it is to just attack Gall. But on those other two stages I just mentioned, there's limited excuses there, I think, for not attacking him.
Yeah, I was surprised, but yeah, it didn't happen, and basically Gall got to do it. He got to do an individual time trial on 5 mountaintop finishes.
Yeah,
and that was enough, despite his TT loss, to comfortably win second. And Hindley, you can't criticize him because his race plan in a Grand Tour when he's coming good is to wait for the third week Dolomite stages where he's going to start moving, and that's what happened. So. But G West is also the same. It's not like, how can G West? He's also just a diesel that does his own pace on the climb. So I don't know, just the lack of. Eulálio was the star because Eulálio defending white admirably was and actually getting better. And Eulálio basically finished as the legitimate top 10 GC rider. I know he got the gap for it's not for free, but he was a top 10 climber by the end of this race. By far.
Yeah, for sure. In the second week, it's hard to say. In the third week, yes, for sure. And it's an absolutely deserved 6th place. Absolutely deserved white jersey as well. But the results from Eulálio in this race are less memorable to me than the way he acted on stages that maybe wouldn't even go to a GC place, like that last Money stage win, for example. Attacking on that climb away from the passive peloton, the Fermo stage as well towards the end. That shows pure panache, pure ciclismo. And like, I'm not a believer that one extra move you make if you're an Eulálio on that stage will ruin you on the next mountain stage. So I like to see riders that dare a little bit more, that do that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, he finishes second with a white jersey. Yes, he did not win that stage against Arieta, but it was an absolute banger of a Grand Tour for Eulálio. And I'm looking forward to see what he does next, because I think the first time we spoke about Eulálio was a long time ago. A long time ago when, before Morgado came to World Tour, Morgado and Eulálio were in the same conversation, if I recall, of being spoken to by teams like Quickstep and so forth, and UAE in terms of Morgado then. I swear we spoke about Eulálio being in conversation with Quickstep 4 years ago.
I got to be honest, I never heard of him before Bahrain signed him. But you're more plugged in than I am. He did win GP Torres Vedras, which is a Unipuerto where people go fast or have gone fast. I think what's very interesting to me is, look at Eulálio and Piganzoli. They're the two, let's say, breakout climbers of this race. They are not the 20-year-old junior super talents. We got the Paul Seixas's, and yes, they're not as good as Seixas, obviously, but Eulálio is 24. He was grinding on the Conti scene, gradually getting better for 4 years, 5 years. Piganzoli's turning 24 in a month. He was on Polti as a professional for about 3.5 years. Did 2 Giri before. It just goes to show the Grand Tour racing, or more the development can take different paths, and it's not just the 19-year-old, 16-year-old talents that pop up. It's also guys who keep at it, like Eulálio, like Piganzoli, like Paul Double to a certain extent. There's still a place for them, and Bahrain should be very happy. They have all peer pressured / bullied poor old Damiano Caruso into signing a 1-year extension, by the way.
Is this the first successful transfer from a Portuguese Conti team into World Tour in a very long time? Because it was overshadowed with doping for a while, that Conti scene.
Yeah, people were scared to sign riders from Portugal, but then there was a big cleanup a couple of years ago. I guess with the younger riders, you can be a little bit more. Yeah, you can go for the younger riders perhaps, but I'm trying to think. Because Almeida and Morgado just came straight. They were on big U23 development teams because they're on Hagen's Berman at least, I think.
Okay. The story of Eulálio to the side?
He was nice.
Yeah, for sure. About GC, we've spoken about a lot of GC riders now, but I think we need to hammer it back to Jonas Vingegaard for a second, because this man won the Giro d'Italia. He's won the Tour de France 2 times before. He won La Vuelta already once and gifted it to a teammate on another time. But what does this victory mean for a rider of the stature of Jonas Vingegaard? I've got written down as a question. I think it's a bit of a cringe question, because then we're going to say, oh, he wrote history. It's kind of true. There's a reality there, because at the end of the day, there's a handful of riders that have achieved this triple of having won a Giro, a Tour de France, and a Vuelta. One of those names is the mythical Italian descending god called Vincenzo Nibali. So for Jonas to stand next to Vincenzo Nibali on a ranking, Patrick, that's the most meaningful thing in the world, right?
Yeah, Froome was the last to do it, I believe. Nibbles.
2018.
So
Nibbles.
I think if you're going to be one of the best GC riders of your generation, you have to win all 3. And he had to do it. And yes, he made it look easy he wasn't really under pressure, but you still got to turn up, do the 3 weeks, avoid accident, avoid incident, avoid sickness, beat the competition. And he did that. And that's also why it's hard to do. It's hard to win Grand Tours. And you look at Vingegaard's Grand Tour track record, it's actually obscene. Like he's done 9 Grand Tours. He's won 4 of them. First Vuelta he did, he was good on as a domestique. Then his result is second first Tour de France, second Vuelta that he gifted, second Tour, first Vuelta, first Giro. So he'd have 5 Grand Tours out of 9 starts if without the Vuelta. And without Pog, he would have won every Grand Tour he started since he was a domestique.
Yeah. But
Pog
does exist.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Pog does exist, but it just shows that he is like a historic GC rider. He's not just like a Simon Yates, very very good rider. Won a lot of races, won Giro, won a Vuelta, but like Vingegaard is in that. To me, he's in the Contador Froome level.
I've seen for sure. Maybe, in that discussion,
actually above that probably.
In terms of level on the climbs, above that.
Yeah.
But the sport has also modernized a little bit more since 10 years ago. But there's 2 more angles I saw on social media about this. The first angle was, he went to the Giro to duck Pogacar and try and get a Grand Tour victory before going to the Tour de France. I think that's bullshit. I think there's no issue with him going to a Grand Tour where Pogacar is not, to then go to the Tour de France after, because in my opinion, the best motivation for a cyclist going into the Tour de France is winning a Grand Tour beforehand, because even if you come second then, it's not like your entire season depends on that second place, which means there's a little bit less pressure for that rider going into the Tour de France, as well as how I perceive that. I'm not sure Jonas will agree to that, because I think Jonas will put the same amount of pressure on this Tour de France regardless of whether he would have ridden the Giro d'Italia or not. These riders we're talking about are champions that want to win every race they do, including the Tour de France. And yes, Jonas knows Tadej Pogacar exists, but Jonas also believes that he can win this Tour de France.
But he's not a big champion, because if he's on before a flat finish, he might not pull full with Pogacar to beat him in the sprint.
Okay. I'm done with the champion discussion. The joke died 2 months ago, Patrick.
We're not doing big champion. Yes, we will. We are reviving Naesen in green drafted tweets for like a hill stage when Vingegaard doesn't pull with Remco and Pog before like a cobbled finish.
Who is this Nairo in green character? Is that the renowned cycling follower on Twitter?
Could be.
That's what I know.
No free ads.
No free
ads.
No free ads. We don't do that shit. The second angle I wanted to throw in there is we've always got the comparison Jonas Pogacar going into the Tour de France. That storyline will continue. I genuinely don't know what to expect from this Tour de France outside of the fact that I still see Tadej Pogacar as the favorite. In terms of level that we saw from Jonas at this Giro d'Italia, in terms of estimated watts, we spoke about ASLP a few times, the adjusted sea level performance, which is basically adjusted sea level power, which basically normalizes it for altitude and time, the performance on a climb. Can we conclude from this final week of the Giro? Jonas can compete with Tadej Pogacar at his best? I don't feel that.
I think Piancavallo shows yes on specific stages.
Okay.
But he didn't do Piancavallo every day. And last year in the Tour, he didn't do Ventoux every day. So, yeah, it's about can he do that level, Ventoux level every day? There's that question mark still. On the other hand, it does offer some hope that back end of a Grand Tour, he felt fresh enough, motivated enough to drop the hammer to that extent and
also
do a good performance.
He didn't look tired on Piancavallo.
Yeah. So I don't agree with the line of thinking that you compare what Jonas did on these climbs to what Pog did in the Giro 24, because you can't just assume that Jonas would progress to the same extent that Pog then did on Plateau de Bay. And not just that, he did it on Plateau de Bay, the TT, and Isola.
Yeah, but we haven't seen that level from Pog last year either, eh? 2025 Pog was less than 2024, right? In terms of Tour de France?
Yeah, less.
Pato de Bay I haven't seen yet since 2024.
Perigord TT was pretty good, but that's it's a mountain TT.
Yeah.
I think, but my point is, yeah, with the Piancavallo level, with a bit of improvement, you think, okay, on that Perigord TT, maybe Vingegaard is like level with Pog. But level's not enough on one stage.
Yeah. Because the difference between Pogacar and Vingegaard as well is that if they both ride together in an entire Grand Tour, to be honest, for a flat time trial right now, I put Pogacar above Jonas Vingegaard, especially after what I saw at the Giro.
Definitely, especially the rolling one. But I think if the plan was for Vingegaard to do this Giro, get some racing in his legs, improve throughout the race, finish fresh, but with some good load, and then kick on from here, I think it has evidently gone to plan. I am we should be more hopeful as now that there's going to be a big battle. Seychelles as well. He's doing crazy kilometers, just broke the Tourmalet record or something. At least I'd say more hopeful than last year, especially with the Dauphiné beatdown last year. So I'm hoping that we get a three-way battle in July.
And outside of hope, right now, I would objectively say that if this last week Vingegaard is as consistent at the Tour de France against Pogacar, the gaps on paper shouldn't be what it was on Autocam.
No, exactly. Like, if you don't have the Autocam, then you keep tight gaps, and then you never know what can happen on stage 20, for example. Then, whereas, like in this Giro, 4 minutes, okay, it's not going to happen on Piancavallo. So that was the GC. Felix Gall, I just read from Bram van der Capella on Twitter, but it was also reported by Ciro Sconamilio in Gazzetta that Felix Gall is on his way to Lidl-Trek. Apparently that's the rumor, with Mühlberger, his lieutenant, who was outstanding in this Giro, revived his career perhaps. What does this mean for Felix Gall? It means that I think he should do Giro Vuelta every year. The Tour de France, I know he came 5th last year, but fuck, the hectic's not for him.
Yeah, but I see this. I'm not actually asking the question, what does this mean for Felix Gall? I think we know what rider Felix Gall is.
Yeah,
he can
climber.
podium a Grand Tour. I'm not sure he can podium the Tour de France because they'll fuck up his fragility in that race way more than they did at the Giro d'Italia.
There's too much pressure every day.
I don't expect him to get loads better in the coming years either. I enjoy him as a rider. I feel like when it comes to Lidl-Trek, there's a lot of chefs coming into the kitchen for GC action, and that can go wrong. There's a lot of money being spent where it doesn't feel like there's a clear vision on where that money is going. My bigger question is, what does it mean for Paul Success? Because already this year we saw that Felix Gall, clearly schedule-wise, is either not willing or doesn't fit within the plan of being a collaboration for Paul Success winning the Tour de France in a couple of years. Felix Gall wants to go his own way.
But if you want to be a super team, I think that's fine.
What do you mean? For Gall or for Success?
For Gall and Decathlon. I think they got space for him at Decathlon, and I think for Decathlon, you still want to... You just podium the Giro second behind Vingegaard before Seychelles takes a big tilt at the Tour podium or the victory. So I think it's perfect. And then Vuelta, Seychelles probably not going to do back-to-back Grand Tours. Gall can do the Vuelta. You're thinking, yeah, but Gall's their second best climber. Seychelles might need climbing support. Does he?
I think in the long term, yes. I think signing Sivakov is a question mark to me at best.
But Sivakov's not going to be there when Visma and UAE start doing stuff.
No, who's going to be there in that team? Maybe Riccitello in the last 10 riders? But at the Tour de France, it's high level, eh?
Well, you got Yates, you got Del Toro, you got Jorgensen, Koos on his day.
The rumor that Hindley might be going to Visma Lease bike is also on the table.
Lippo, Hindley as a domestique, perhaps, Danny Martinez. But
the benefit is, Paul Success going into the Tour de France, his team will not need to dictate the race yet. Unless he magically gets into the yellow or something.
You got to position him.
Yeah.
You got to support him on the versatile stages with your Predoms, your Bizios, these sort of guys that can survive, so he's got guys around him. But yeah, to launch him, aren't Visma and UAE going to do that? Yeah.
It's more, who are the kind of riders that would do the Mühlberger role then for a medium mountain stage?
Medium mountain, Bizio.
Okay.
Bizio's solid. He's a good rider.
He's solid, but I feel like I'm missing a bit more. I'm trying to think through their team, and I'm definitely not thinking very clearly right now.
Prudhomme, Bizio.
Post Giro. Like, Don Hall is a great ruler in a Grand Tour.
Don Hall are fantastic. Bissiger. Olaf Kooij.
Yeah. Wow. Not sure Olaf Kooij is going to be doing the ruler work for Paul 6000 anytime soon. Okay. Anyway.
See his booklet of the Mayen?
Yeah, well.
Dude, Kooij
against John Degenkolb in the sprint.
No. Kooij is class.
But Kooij is a good sprinter. I've always said that. But I think you and I have always disagreed about where he stands in the hierarchy. I've always said that in the last 3 years, he's been knocking on the door of the top sprinters, but he's never gone through that door. For you, he's already gone through that door as well.
I'm just saying, if I'd been on that plane, Mark Wahlberg, if Olaf Kooij had been at the Giro, man, yeah, not taking that many sprints.
I tend to agree with that.
And you can't disprove it because it's a hypothetical. So
that's not how that works. But I also said I agree with you, so I can't disprove what I agree with. Anyway,
yeah, no. I'm hearing people be like, "Why you rate Olaf Kooij so much?" I'm like, "Yeah, because he wins races a lot."
About Jai Hindley, if that Visma Lease by Krumer ends up being true, then Jai Hindley is definitely good enough to play that Simon Yates role for a Jonas Vingegaard in a Grand Tour.
What is the Simon Yates role? Simon Yates didn't do anything as a domestique in the Tour last year.
He had one day. The Motherland stage, he did a short pool. On the bump after the Motherland, right?
Nah, Kooij straight dropped him on Madeleine.
I swear there was a stage. I can't remember specifically which stage.
He got dropped. He won a breakaway stage that actually was very important because Visma weren't exactly wrapped up in stages of the Tour. I'm just saying he wasn't like a super domestique in the Tour last year. Not his fault either.
I'll change it. Hypothetical Simon Yates is what Jai Hindley can do.
And exactly, it's not his fault. He did the fucking Giro before, which he won, by the way. It just shows that doing the Giro Tour doubles hard. But like, yeah, I keep seeing that in the media, like, feel the Simon Yates role. I'm like, he rode for the team for 1 year. Like, it's not like the Kooij
The hypothetical Simon Yates role.
What is the hypothetical Simon Yates role?
I'll tell you. The hypothetical Simon Yates role is the role where you can go for your own GC at a Giro or Vuelta and show up at the Tour de France and be a last or second last man for Jonas Vingegaard. That's the hypothetical Simon Yates role.
Respects Van Mernick. So
wait. You spoke about Giro Tour double. It's impossible to predict what level Vingegaard will be relatively to the Giro d'Italia at the Tour de France, outside of hoping that he grows from this point and increase the level a little bit towards the Tour de France for a competitivity. I hope that, but I also have not seen proof of that in the last couple of years, where his second Grand Tour is substantially better than his first Grand Tour, because usually he gets sick in his second Grand Tour.
Yeah, but he preloaded that. He got sick in this one in the first week.
Now he got sick on purpose in the Giro to avoid that Tour, is what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah.
Makes sense. We'll go with that. That's a theory.
Paul Magnier is the second best sprinter in the world.
Oh.
That's a fact. It's a fact.
You just said it, that if Olaf Kooij went to the Giro, Magnier would have been beaten.
Yeah, but Olaf been sick, so I have to be realistic. Magnier is the second best sprinter in the world right now. Merlier number 1. He just destroyed Milan.
Wait, we have to sketch this out for a second.
Yeah.
Magnier is the second best sprinter in the world if being led out by Stuyven.
Yeah. Other people are allowed to have lead outs too.
Yeah, but if Stuyven was the lead out for another sprinter, like Milan, for example, I'm not sure Magnier takes 3 sprints.
Was he on that team last year?
Yes, he was.
Oh.
What a shame that he left half for Trek.
On the other hand, you could also say that, like, Paul Magnier was really, really good, didn't have a good lead out before. Now he's got a semblance of a lead out, and he won the Ciclamino, won 3 stages. I think he's fast. Hot take. I think he's fast. He wins a shitload of races last year, and now he's wins Ciclamino. I think Philipsen's not as quick. And I think Milan hasn't looked as good this year. I mean, Milan's still been good this year. He still won like 7 races, I think. 6 races, but
like the Giro was definitely not the best Milan we've ever seen.
no.
I think that's fair to say. The final stage was impressive.
Final
Like,
stage, yeah, he won going away.
but it's also against Benoit and so forth, because Magnier
he got blocked.
Looked tired, to be honest.
He got boxed and then he gave up.
But when it comes to Paul Magnier, though, I think we started this year, or at least I started this year with the thought process of Magnier and Brennan were in the same place for me at the start of the year, where they had 2 objectives. Each had the objective of trying to break out in the cobble season, or the classics at least, and 1 Grand Tour each. I expect Brennan to be really good in sprints, winning multiple stages at the Vuelta. We don't know who's going to go yet, though, but that's my pre-prediction. Brennan was maybe more successful at the classics at doing that breakout because of his victory at Kuurne, Brussels-Kuurne, but then got sick and that prevented him from doing more in that classic season. Magnier had a lot of bad luck, but also in some races, maybe not the level and the classics. The Giro is clearly a massive breakout for Magnier. I never necessarily agreed with the Tom Bonen comparison. I think he's better sprinter, slightly worse classics.
Yeah, I think he's legit. He's a legit burner. Like, he can beat anyone in a flat sprint. Like, he's just a proper quick sprinter.
Except Merlier. On his day.
Well, yeah, maybe Merlier's not allowed to sprint against him because they're on the same team.
But you know what I mean, right? Like, yeah, Merlier is objectively the best sprinter in the world, and there's a gap.
Merlier is the best sprinter ever.
Okay.
Like, just the best ever.
How do you compare sprinters across eras compared to Cavendish, Cipollini, Petacchi, Jean-Paul Van Poppel?
You just make up who you like on vibes and then say, his lead out was really good, his lead out was really bad, therefore he was a better sprinter. Yeah, that's just... So yeah, Merlier I think is the best ever, so Magnier's, yeah, lucky he's on his team. KOM classification, they got to rework this. I don't know why they're obsessed with trying to make GC win it. But then they backloaded all the KOM points into one stage. So basically Vingegaard was walking it. Ciccone then went in the break on stage 19 and then just took all the points. They got to rework that. It was like a dead battle.
I want to see a Grand Tour KOM battle where I don't want extra points on the final climb. No. I don't care about the GC rider going
first. They get the stage win.
It's like a fight between 2 things. There's an element, there's a portion of people that want the KOM battle to be for the actual physical best climber. That might as well be the GC. Because TT is not making the difference in Grand Tours anymore. It's actual climbing. It's being the best climber in the world is the meta right now. The best all-round rider as well. But the time trial is not making the actual massive difference anymore for the T. If you take the TT out of this race, GC is still relatively the same, is what I'm trying to say, in terms of, except for Ironman then. But
I would have another 50k flat TT. I would have been fine with.
Yeah, I'm still not sure it would have made a difference because we're in the era where
I think
it's not the Wiggins era anymore, where the time trial matters as much as it does now.
Don't you think if Arensman had a 3-minute lead on Gall, it would have made it more exciting that Gall had to like take the time back? It would have literally been the same things happening on the climbs, but it would have been more exciting.
Yeah. But for the winner, it would never make a difference in a Grand Tour in the last couple of years.
No, agree. I mean,
maybe 2022, I don't know.
If Remco has 100 Ks of flat TT against the Vingegaard flat TT here.
I think his climbing is not good enough.
100 Ks.
Let's see, how many minutes does Remco take on Pogacar and Vingegaard in a 100-kilometer time trial?
And they do it all at once, flat.
How much time did Remco take on the flat TT last year in Cayenne? 16 seconds on Pogacar in 33 kilometers.
It wasn't that flat.
And on... Buddy, look at the fucking profile.
What was the average speed? What was average speed?
There's 190 altitude meters in 33 kilometers.
The 54
kph.
Oh, slow. So yeah, 50... yeah, I don't know. Maybe...
You're in your make shit up era.
I'm more thinking Remco. Yeah, but Pogacar is just good at everything, so just discard him. I'm saying Remco v Jonas.
Okay. So Jonas lost a minute 20 there. if hypothetically this time trial's
he'd lose
3
6
times
minutes.
longer and there's exponential growth in that time gap, maybe it's 5-6 minutes.
That'd be sick. But you're saying Remco just drops on the first HC call and loses 20 minutes?
Based on his last 1.5 years of cycling, yes.
Yeah.
2024, Remco, no.
No, 2024 Tour de France Remco, then we got a real nice battle.
But in the last 1.5 years, I think 6 minutes might not be enough against Jonas.
Bring back 100k TTs. I want to see it. Get Remco to the Giro. Get 100k TT. I want to see it. Okay, that's all the classifications. There's
a 150 kilometer team time trial.
Nah, that's just the rich teams.
Yeah, that's true, but it would have been funny.
Yeah. The Red Bull K kilometer, they got to market that better. You've got that in the notes. How would you rate this Giro, Benji?
About the Red Bull kilometer though, it's not just like the marketing of it. It's like, I only realized or remembered that there was a Red Bull classification. I think I mentioned it on the actual preview of the Giro, but I remembered it on stage 19. The fact that I forgot about it until stage 19 means that commentators never said it. It never properly showed up on screen that much. And if that doesn't happen, it's very difficult for me to keep track and actually be hyped about that existing. So at the end, it was kind of fun between Arieta and Rubio because of the drama of the day before. It's also not a Red Bull kilometer. It's not a kilometer. It triggers me, that name.
We need the Howden kilometer. We need that back. So yeah.
But you asked the question, how would you rate the Giro d'Italia 2026? When I think of this Giro, I'm trying to compare it in my head to the Giro 2024. I think there's no massive difference between the two. I think a lot of people will look at that and say, oh, that's a conversation of whether you like Pogacar or Vingegaard more. I don't think it's a conversation about that at all. I think the winner is indifferent in those two races.
Yeah, it's the same.
If you look at the entertainment level, both was a walk in the park for both those riders. Stage 1 of the Giro 2024 was a lot better than most of the stages of this Giro d'Italia. The Narvaez versus Pogacar first stage was a banger.
That was a proper wow moment.
And you had at least the dynamic that the UAE team that day was awful, so we could play into that of like, okay, maybe that might become a problem later in the race. On the gravel stage, Pogacar didn't have the best day. I'm pretty sure he confirmed later that he had a worse day on one of the days. I still lean towards that gravel stage of the one being the one. There's the Maestri Alaphilippe breakaway stage. More memorable, in my opinion, than a lot of the breakaway stages we had in this Giro d'Italia. Maybe not the Arieta Eulálio one. The Vagren one, like you said, was pretty good. The Bettiol one is forgettable for me in this Giro. The sprints was too much of a cleanup for Magnier.
That's the big difference.
Back then we had Merlier versus Milan versus Kooij.
Yeah, Merlier-Milan mega battle. Every sprint was class.
And this year, I don't feel like we had a mega battle outside of maybe stage 3 between Milan and Magnier, but that was on a cobble straight road where Milan got deteriorated by the cobbles. There was never a pure straight sprint between every single top sprinter where I felt like, raw, you know? Eulálio is the highlight. I'm leaning towards 3 or 4 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 3 out of 10.
Sad, huh?
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast, guys.
No, I mean, no, and some people might be really enjoy it, and some people, but like me and you want tension, drama, and so I also don't think you can so easily say, yeah, but if you take Vingegaard out, there'll be all-out crazy racing every day. We saw in 2023 that was the most passive race I've ever seen.
The only good stage that year was the Lusari stage. I don't remember any other stage.
Last year was actually pretty fucking good. Like, you had Derek G attacking, Pellizzari attacking, Del Toro getting dropped stage 16, coming back, winning stage. Like
Ayuso drama.
Yeah, last year was actually, in hindsight, pretty nice race.
I think I haven't gone through it, and I remember the whole era of Giro d'Italias from 2015 to 2020 were mostly bangers. I think 2025 might be close to my podium or on the podium. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch those old Giros, and I might do that in the off-season, actually. I make a few videos about it. But that to the side, Giro 2016 will be my top. I don't think I'll find one that beats that in the last 11 years. A lot of people talking about the Giro 2005 between Savoldelli and so forth. I never saw that, so I can't judge that.
Who was following cycling in 2005?
Bro, a lot of people.
Crazy. The ashes were on that summer. The best ashes ever. Nobody had time for Ciclismo then. Yeah, I mean, you can... Maybe we're too negative. If you enjoyed it...
I don't think we are.
If you enjoyed it, I'm glad for you, but... yeah,
we'd love to hear your take.
If this Giro means that Vingegaard's at Pog level for the Tour, it will have been worth it. Because like, when the Tour is competitive, then it's like, that is peak cycling. There is nothing better. So
2022 Tour de France was banger.
Yeah, absolute banger.
Best Grand Tour I've seen in the last 11 years.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch the tapes. Anyway,
I think I was a bit too frustrated at Visma in the 2021.
2021, Pog just walked it.
In the 2021.
2020 edition. Yeah. We will have Giro Donne recaps for the big GC stages coming up. It's been 3 sprints. We'll also address the Lorena Wiebes drama. I have to dash, I'm afraid, Benji, right now. But there's actually been a lot of drama in the Giro Donne beginning, with Wiebes being disqualified. Balsamo's won 3 sprint stages, so you haven't... Well, no, she won 2 on the road, 1 post. Yeah. So
technically, you're right.
You haven't missed too much in sort of the road sense, but we've got a mountain TT tomorrow, which is going to be pretty important for Demi and co. So we're looking forward to that. I'm traveling tomorrow morning, and then I should be available tomorrow afternoon to recap that with Benjamin. But yeah, thanks for listening to our Giro coverage. We really appreciate you across the 3 weeks tuning in, and we still enjoy doing the pods, talking nonsense every day. Thanks to Join Cycling for supporting us, and we'll see you shortly. Ciao, ciao.